Hey everybody, Ranjan here, bringing on another StarCraft commentary. I have Kenny casting alongside me, and we're going to do Game 3, or Set 3, whatever you want to call it, between KTF versus SKT1. It's going to be on Chupung-Ryeong between Hoja the Zerg for KTF and Canata the Terran for SKT1. We're going to have Hoja in teal at the upper right, and we're going to have Canata on the bottom left in purple. Righto, so interesting choice by SKT1 here, bringing out Canata. He's not that good against Zerg, under 50%, but I'm supposing they're deciding to choose him here simply because of the map that's in Chupung-Ryeong. So Zerg, Terran favorite, I'm sorry, so they're hoping he can take advantage of that and bring him a win here. I'm going to see, though, not the biggest clutch player. I mean, hoping maybe they're probably hoping to be able to keep him for a TVT, because that's really his forte, but we're going to see overall what he does here against Hoja. I've never really seen Canata play TVZ yet, so looking forward. And also looking forward to see how Hoja follows up his performance in the earlier game where he played against Bisu. So, spoiler for anyone that for some reason decides to go to the third game instead of watching the first and second sets first. So I'm just gonna, after all the information has been shared with everybody, I'm gonna let Kenny talk about the possible tactical maneuverability stuff.
Hey guys, yeah, so basically Hoja in the last game completely tore Bisu apart, which is actually very impressive, obviously because Bisu being probably the best Protoss vs Zerg player in the entire world, and he made him look silly that game, which was pretty impressive, I gotta say. And this is in Chupung-Ryeong, like Ranjan said for you guys. One thing to note that about this game, though, is Hoja. I gotta say, I think he has a lot of. I think really he should have a lot of confidence coming into this game. Like Ranjan was saying, Canata not being the best player in the world, and Hoja just got out of a game destroying Bisu. So I would have to say the forward momentum is definitely with Hoja. This map is really interesting, actually. For all of you who don't know, it is a two-player map, but I really like Sin Chupung-Ryeong. It's got a lot of interesting playability aspects to it. Basically, you can run basically around your base through the side of your natural. Nice gas steal as well. I thought he was going to cancel that, but he just went ahead and went through with it. Also, this map, there's a lot of kind of hidden expansions and things that you can hold off in the corner. They're not necessarily hidden, but they're kind of interesting to hold. They're on lower ground, so it sometimes can be difficult, and that's why Ranjan was mentioning that Terran is very dominant on this map, because higher ground just tends to dominate for Terran. And I'm not going to say that the map is going to make the difference in this match, simply because I think Hoja, again, has that momentum going into this game. As you can see, the gas cap did go down for Hoja, although I don't really know if that's doing a whole lot other than just sitting in the base to see exactly what's going on, if anything tricky's going down, simply because he was going for one Rax expansion build anyways. Now, I would expect in this matchup for Hoja to probably, he could utilize mutas pretty well on this map, although there is an area now behind the natural, since it's been fixed a while back, where your Marines can actually run, and you can also build turrets, so you can defend against that pretty decently, but I'd expect Hoja to go muta, if anything, Ranson. And if you had to make I guess a guess about who's going to win this game, would you agree with me on Hoja having the momentum, or do you think Canata would be more favored to win this match?
No, I think Hoja has overall the momentum, yeah, and I think also what's going to bother Canata severely here is that, well, first of all, he possibly had to switch builds due to that gas steal. Could have been awesome. He was forced, he went barracks into command center, and he could have wanted to do something else instead. Now going to push forward with a few Marines, going to see whether he actually managed to do something. I don't see too many Zerglings. Hoja's going to have to rebuild some now, going to be able to kill that scout, though. So yeah, I think Hoja should have the forward momentum, and he's going to have to ride it. Got to make sure that he can utilize it, and if he is going for muta, it does look like which he's actually doing, because he has 3 hatcheries down, 2 mining bases, and if he manages to do a lot of good economic harassment, he should really be able to take this game. Canata not pushing forward, just taking some high ground there with those Marines. I think he pulled them back now, and Canata, though, barely managing to keep this SCV alive, so getting the scout, seeing the lair. I think he's definitely seen that second hatchery, and he's just waiting around. I'm guessing, for his sake, I hope he guesses that Hoja's going mutas. Also now getting his second gas going, Hoja that is, so he's definitely going to get a lot of gas so he can get those mutas up faster. Academy on the other side for Canata alongside 2 barracks is, he should really start popping down that engineering bay, so he wants to get turrets up. Without turrets, those medics without marines, marines without medics, crap, can't really help him out there. So there is the engineering bay, hiding it in the lower left-hand corner, as Terrans really like to do on this map, to keep it a little bit out of sight, just so the other player doesn't go and attack their upgrades. Now, pretty sizable force of marines, though. Not going to be able to push out as soon as he sees that sunken that's coming up in Hoja's base. Lair almost ready, and just producing some OVs, producing forces from all sides. I really look forward to seeing what Hoja is going for. Moving downwards a little bit with the Zerglings, I think is mostly just to put on a little bit of pressure, and to just get a scout to see how many forces it is that Canata has. Spire going up for Hoja, while Canata is getting some comset station, so if he hasn't completely read Hoja, then as soon as the comset station ready, he's going to scan and going to figure out. I'm not quite sure whether Hoja hit that spire or not, but I think it should be scanned. 2 sunken colonies going up at the front, so he's Hoja playing fairly defensively. 2 fire bats alongside for Canata, so he's definitely going to be having enough forces to take down any Zerg groupies, although I don't see any turrets for him yet critically. I'm not sure whether he's spotted those mutalisks or not yet. He's going to move out. I'm going to see when he manages to actually go for a break. I don't think he would be too successful with that. There are some Zerglings ready to flank for Hoja. So this is, at the moment, Canata is putting in a little bit of pressure. He's trying to take advantage in this game in that way. If he manages to keep Hoja 2-2 bases, he will eventually take an advantage, but the mutalisk micro that's going to be coming from any side is going to be very important. Zerglings coming in from the back there from Hoja, but they're not going to be able to do anything due to those fire bats. Spire almost ready, and now this is going to, the next 2 to 3 minutes are going to pretty much decide in what direction this match is going to go.
Yeah, that's somewhat true. Now, one thing to mention, though, about this is that a lot of players these days, I mean, it's pretty damn common for people to expect mutas to be on the way, especially when he spotted that hidden third. A lot of the time that does mean that they're trying to sneak off a 3-hatch mutalisk build, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's going to have 9 mutalisks out very shortly, and what he's going to do is just what every other Zerg does versus Terran, and try to keep him in his base while he can take that 4th that you're seeing over in the left-hand corner right now, and really try to build up, get himself on 3 gas, and hopefully on another gas even if he can, and just move into a later game. It seems that basically most Zergs, in order to beat Terrans, you got to either win very, very early, or you got to take them to the late game a lot of the time. Some very, very good players with mutas can just micro their way to victory with mutas, but that's usually people like Jaedong against very undersized opponents, although he has done that versus people like Flash. Just, it really depends on the map in the way it's laid out, the player strategies. Of course, we all know that. The mutalisks are going to come in now and do some harassment on the natural and main, but it looks like Canata is more than ready for this. He has turrets absolutely everywhere, 3 in his natural mineral line, as well as just like tons and tons of turrets in his main, so I don't really think that these mutas will be too effective in doing anything to the main, but as you can see, some nice muta micro taking out a decent amount of marines, and if he can just whittle down the marine numbers, that's his ultimate goal, so he can go ahead and get lurkers out on the way, and as you see, he did clean that up just fine, so my expectations would be that he's going to go ahead and rush to lurkers now, and try to keep the pressure on the front of Canata. Canata really was careless with a lot of those units and threw a lot of them away. A lot of time you don't want to just lose them blatantly out in the open like that. He kind of put himself in a vulnerable position, and he can't really do anything once he's out there. He has to fight, because if he runs, he's just going to lose them anyways. Canata really, I think, is taking a nice map position right now. I think he'll probably send out to try to take another expo near his 4th very shortly. That would at least make sense in the general terms of how Zerg would play. First, he's probably going to work on getting his lurkers up, and then move into another expansion. As you can see, these mutalisks still just kind of tearing away at the marine numbers. So Kanata's really not ever able to move out and do some serious attacks on the expansion, so that's very nice muta delay. And as you can see, we did see the Evo chamber, and here come the Hydras, so the lurkers are indeed coming with some upgrades, and I think that this would move a little bit more into the late game, and it looks like Canata's already preparing for the late game. As you can see, the Queen's Nest already going down. So I expect Hoja to be pretty comfortable at this point in the game, man.
Yeah, Hoja already getting his Queen's Nest, so Hive Tech going to be up fairly certain. He's going to need one more base to help him support that Hive Tech, which is going to come up, especially if he wants to go eventually to Ultralisks. Although the way this match is going, it might not evolve that fast. Kanata already has his science facility up, so he's going to have some science vessels up there. He's going to need those to get rid of those Mutalisks, because as soon as he has his science vessels up, he's going to help him take care of that. What's going to be important, I think, for Kanata is keeping his science vessel number up. It's important, of course, for every single turn, and so many turns make the mistake of letting them fall to Scourge or the few Hydras that sometimes are just running around the field. But if you man just doing a little bit of surround, catching those Mutalisks in the middle, decent job. Now, I think with the amount of medic marines that he has, especially with those weapons upgrades, he's just not gonna Hoja's just not gonna have enough Mutalisks to do that. Of course, now he's switched over to Lurkers. Would be interesting to see whether he actually goes for Hydra Skull on side as well. I've seen some Zerg players these days go for both Lurkers and heavy Hydra Skull on side. That really seems to help him out, especially when they want to take out Science Vessel. So first Science Vessel now out for Hoja. He should be able to. I'm sorry, for Kanata. We're going to see he's not going to push in on those Lurkers though. He's going to push back a little bit. We're going to see whether he waits for a tank. Now those Mules going to come in. I'm not seeing any Radiates yet. That just trying to keep that Science Vessel back. Probably just waiting for the Radiant. It might not be researched yet at this point. So Hoja, despite losing a few troops there almost, in a slightly dangerous position, all in all, just doing a good job of keeping